Hey there, so today's episode is part two of how we've built a $100 million business. So this is the first secret or strategy. Today is all about what I call product polarizing, which is how to build a product that stands out in your market so you capture as much market share as possible and you can sell at higher prices and get higher profits. So here we go. Enjoy today's episode. All right, so remember how I said each one of the three frameworks makes up the core system and that they build on each other? Well, all three combined help create a massively successful e-commerce business with the core on Shopify. So take out your pen and paper and get ready to take notes, or if you take on your computer with Apple Notes, like sometimes I do, that's fine as well, because I'm going to walk you through the first framework that I call product polarizing. So years ago, before all this, I used to wonder, doesn't everyone just buy everything on Amazon? Like I was so used to selling on Amazon. Amazon was taking over the world of e-commerce. And I was like, what's the point of selling any physical product anyways outside of Amazon? Because everyone just buys on Amazon. And so I thought the answer to this was yes. So for a long time, for years, I was like, it's so dumb to sell anywhere but Amazon. So I didn't even try until I saw this. And so this is an article from 2017. And so Amazon tried like heck to push into the luxury market, but they basically fell on their faces. And it's not hard to imagine why, because their platform is not built for a luxury experience. But this was kind of a light bulb in my head. And so what I kind of realized at that point is that Amazon's biggest strength is its biggest weakness. The standardization of the platform allows it to sell millions of different types of products pretty well, but doesn't allow it to sell some products really well. There's some products it's always going to struggle with because the platform is so standardized. There's no unique experiences. It's almost like a Walmart for the internet. And so that opens up a huge opportunity for us. And so my goal at the time, because I was so tired of issues with Amazon, I had multiple accounts suspended. I had competitors leaving me negative reviews. I had people, competitors upvoting bad reviews. So they showed at the top of my reviews, all that nonsense that was so annoying on Amazon that you could do nothing about. Amazon changing stuff with the listings and changing photos and all that kind of things. And the cost just kept going up. And so what I really wanted was a large, fast-growing, profitable, and predictable business not dependent on Amazon. And so I tried a lot of stuff once again. And so I tried taking some of the supplements that I sold back in the day. These are some natural weight loss supplements that probably were pretty useless, but I don't think they were hurting anybody. They were popular in Dr. Oz and that kind of thing. And so I tried selling those back in the day on my own website with banner ads and stuff. And it just wasn't really working. Like I wasn't really able to get the sales that I was after. Then I remember hearing a quote from somebody that I already had this slide in here, but I figured I would leave it in here. So Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett's business partner, just passed away yesterday. Very unfortunate, very smart guy, very wise person that I looked up to a lot, read a lot about. I read his book, Poor Charlie's Almanac, once a year. So I'll be on my next reading starting in January or so. He's got a lot of wisdom over the years. Highly recommend you dig deep into what he's said. He had a specific quote that stuck with me related to this topic. He says, in business, we often find that the winning system goes almost ridiculously far in maximizing and or minimizing one or a few variables, like the discount warehouses of Costco. So that's when I was kind of thinking, I was like, oh, I see. What does it take for a product or even a business, but especially a product to do well? It's got to stand for something. It can't be, another mediocre option, one that blends in with everything else. It's really got to stand out. The more extreme you can make the product, the better. So that kind of stuck with me. I was like, okay, I've seen how that works in infomercials. But then I kind of thought for a while, I was like, I'm not sure exactly where I'm going to apply this concept until I came across this guy. So this guy is Dave Asprey. And the funny thing is I actually met him before I even knew who he was. We've got a mutual friend here in Austin that's kind of a health influencer, and they invited me and some other people out to dinner at a nice steak restaurant in Austin. And this guy shows up with his goofy looking glasses, his little Vibram toe fingers, shoes. He's pulling out like a handful, like 40 supplements. He's downing them at the table. He's pulling out his own little oil, drizzling it on his, $60 steak and stuff. I was like, who is this guy? I had no idea really. And I met him at that point, but then later on started reading his blog, finding out who he was. Very smart guy. Started learning about the benefits of healthier coffee. And that's when I thought about this. I was like, oh, here's where I can apply this insight from Charlie Munger. So that's what we did, is I ended up partnering with Charles. We took a coffee product that he already had and then positioned it in the extreme manner that Charlie Munger was talking about. We wanted to be the healthiest option possible, even more extreme on the health factors and bulletproof. And so that required where we sourced it from, how we roasted it, the toxins we test for, all that kind of stuff. That was the goal. Healthiest coffee possible. That was what we were after. That still tastes good is a big factor as well. And so the big opportunity here is to make your product the best option for a certain market. And that means this is really only possible with Shopify, because on Amazon, you can't tell the full story about why your product is the best option for that market. So once again, it's kind of an opportunity here on the Shopify side. So here's really how this works. First, you look in your market for the top selling products. Second, read reviews to find out the main reasons people are buying that product. Then make the focus of your product that one thing. So you can tell people we are the best option possible for this thing. Now, if you already have products, you're not starting from scratch. So if you're starting from scratch, just do those first three from any products you're looking at. If you already have products, you can reposition them to be the best option. That's essentially what we did. Coffee is a very commoditized product. We repositioned it as the healthiest option possible. We didn't go out there and figure out how to grow new coffee plants or anything like that. We specifically positioned it as the healthiest option possible. So then you make everything on your website, your landing page, and your branding back up that positioning. And lastly, you create proof that only your product is the best at that one thing. So you're almost making it hard to compare. It becomes apple and oranges when they're comparing your product versus everyone else's. Everyone else's looks the same. Yours really stands out. So this is what this ended up looking like for us. So I did a search the other day as I was preparing for this training. I Googled best low acid coffee. And so I found this site, which I had never seen before, to be honest, Camille Styles. We tried 10 low acid coffee brands. And so Camille writes about these different coffees. And here's what she says about ours, Life Boost Coffee. She says it's one of the most well-known low acid coffees among coffee connoisseurs. This isn't like we've been in business for 50 years or 40 years or doing, little tours around coffee plant, coffee tasting places and all that kind of stuff. This was all engineered by this strategy. Literally third parties that we have no relationship with are saying we are one of the best low acid coffees because we've positioned it as the healthiest, and then even within the healthiest as the lowest acidity, the best for your stomach, for your teeth, and for your health. That's the power of this strategy. Another person who uses strategy is a guy named Mark Sisson, who created these super clean sauces. And so I love their barbecue sauce, ranch dressing. They have a bunch of other buffalo sauce, but they don't have any of the garbage in them. And so the cleanest ingredients possible, he was able to exit that brand for $200 million. There's one that's blowing up right now called Element. And so I don't know how many of y'all have tried it. I've tried it. It is so freaking salty. And so it's an electrolyte drink. But as you can see, their tagline says, on a salty rebellion to restore health through hydration. One of the fastest growing beverage brands in the market, grew 450% year over year. And this was last year, 2022, on a $50 million revenue run rate. They're over $100 million today because they took that extreme positioning. We're not going to have another Me Too electrolyte. We're going to make this thing so when you taste it, you can tell there's a difference. It's as salty as possible. Their sodium is dialed up. And now everyone talks about this product. They took a bunch of boring electrolyte products, made theirs more polarized. So, I mean, these people coming out of nowhere and build $100 million business from nothing just by correctly positioning their product. That's pretty crazy. And so you can jump into almost any market and win with this strategy even today, if you follow with Shopify being the core, everything else being ancillary.